Hand clap to the master, guys. We're definitely back again for another one on this one and only Mystelics reaction channel, guys. Saturday edition. Big up the Mystelics family for tuning in to yet another reaction. And of course, when you come out there, big up yourself for tuning into this reaction. If you're not done so, guys, and most likely you probably have not done so, definitely subscribe and turn on post notifications so you can get all the videos as they tend to come through. And click the bell when you subscribe, so you can just click all when you click the bell. After you subscribe, make the succession happen, brothers and sisters, and click all so you can get all the notifications as they tend to come through right there. Apparently, we have new information stating, actually, this information actually reached me all the way from India, stating what is going on in Dominica. I myself had no clue what was going on when it comes down to this situation, but apparently they actually had the court case of CHOKSI, and of course, as you can read right there, based off the Antigua Observer, back in Co Ltd, whatever that is. But I think it's Antigua Observer right there, guys. It says breaking news. That was yesterday, guys. Observer has learned that all charges against Mehul Trotsky for illegal entry into Dominica have been dropped. More details to follow. We, of course, have more details right there, brothers and sisters. But, of course, we have this information right there. Mehul Trotsky has won the case in Dominica with a prosecutor. Prosecutor has withdrawn the case. The case was regarding the case was regarding his illegal entry into the island of Dominica, the Asia island of Dominica, which the Indian fugitive contested. Well, it keeps saying Indian fugitive, but Antiguan citizen contested, saying he was abducted from Antigua and Barbuda and taken to Dominica. Getting further details of what happened in court, based on what they say right there, public prosecutor officer has discontinued the proceedings against CHOKSI, which means he was kidnapped. Brothers and sisters, this is not anything new for people who actually have common sense and realize the whole story. We already knew that he was kidnapped, based off all the information that we were getting when we were actually listening to the whole proceedings. I was actually in the court listening to what was going on from time to time, and you know them saying certain things and what have you, brothers and sisters. It's clear that it was definitely kidnapping. It's very clear. And on the basis that he actually had his license, guys, thinking of it right there, he had his license, brothers and sisters, which means if he has his license, he can pretty much freely travel throughout the Caribbean. Why they're not saying illegal entry? Because they say it's not a designated port of entry that he utilized. That's what they were saying. But he also made the claim that he was kidnapped. And instead of listening to what he was saying, they decided to put him in jail. Which only means one thing. Because since they didn't listen to him as a victim, they considered him a criminal. And of course, there was a plane that actually came to Dominica. So you mean to tell me some weird person coming in, all of a sudden, some weird person coming, and there's some plane that just happened to land in Dominica all the way from India, who apparently stated that they will take Mehul Trotsky back to India. You find that making sense? Doesn't that mean that there's some involvement in Dominican authority with Trotsky? Of course it does. that's the whole thing right there. There must be some involvement with the Dominican authority. You don't tell me you're just approving some weird plane all the way from India to come for some guy who apparently entered illegally into a country, as if you did not know he was going to enter into a country illegally. Right there. Consider that it was you guys who did this. It's interesting. But we know that he's kidnapped. He was kidnapped. The illegal entry vibes wasn't making any sense at all. He was definitely kidnapped. Kudos to his lawyers for, of course, doing the best foot forward, putting the best foot forward in this regard right there. But this was an open and closed case to me. From my understanding as a journalist, as being part of this thing, a correspondent being a part of this thing, this whole thing was an open and closed case. But of course, they wanted to, extend it and what have you. Anyway, sources, court has agreed to return the surety bond. I think that was $7,000. I think that is $7,000. The surety bond amount that Mr. Trotsky then paid last July for his bail on health grounds. Okay? Anyways, guys, this report has been given by Antigua police, and that he was kidnapped. Dominica, Antigua police. How come Antigua? My personal thought on this, guys, I think the Antigua police was involved, and Dominica police was also involved, and the governments were also involved in this whole thing. Anyways, this is Trotsky right there, having a little side eye on the people them. Yeah, or you come and kidnap me and you pretend like all you don't know nothing. Let's listen to the audio. Right there. Let me see if I can make sure that the audio is thing. Let's listen. Put that louder for me, please. I don't give a sector. I just heard that song. I don't know why he's singing it. Anyways. What the joke is this? It's good time now, boy.
Dominica is set to issue final orders on the charge against CHOKSI of having entered the country illegally. He is accused of defrauding banks in India and has been on the run since 2017.
Hold on, guys. I don't like that at all.
Final orders on the charge against CHOKSI of having...
Nonsense.
On the charge against CHOKSI of having entered the country illegally. He is accused of defrauding banks in India and has been on the run since 2017.
That's what they say. And Antigua, he hasn't been on no run because Antigua Prime Minister, you give him passport. Not no run.
London, an Antigua police interim report on the kidnapping of fugitive Indian origin diamond merchant Mehul CHOKSI, kept under wraps for 11 months.
They've been saying that he wasn't kidnapped. He escaped on some excursion with some woman. He escaped on some excursion with some woman that he wanted to take to another country to have dinner. That was the story that they were giving, you know. Insane.
It's no longer secret. It was reportedly submitted to a court in Dominica, which is scheduled to pass final orders as early as Friday on the case of alleged illegal entry by CHOKSI.
That's what we just heard. Moving along.
State. The police report says, the further along this investigation progresses, the more the facts are aligning with Mr. CHOKSI's version of the events that led to his appearance in the state of Dominica.
You could be a blind man and see that CHOKSI was not what do you call that? He didn't enter Dominica illegally. You could see that. How you have some random people holding him hostage on a boat and then putting him on the island on the beach and think that he just came there on some excursion to meet some woman that I mean we don't use our brain. We don't use our brain. Alright. Let's continue.
It goes on to say, the plethora of real and circumstantial evidence makes it clear that a case of kidnapping with broad collusion among multiple conspirators exists.
And imagine the Prime Minister them didn't want to believe that he was kidnapped, you know. They didn't want to believe. They made him guilty. That's why they brought the plane inside there. What else would the plane be here for, brothers and sisters? A man who just happened to be on a beach somewhere in Tukari with people close by in Kepinski. And all of a sudden the plane reached later, by the way. If the plane was there earlier, Mr. would have been back in India already. So it'll be interesting to find out what exactly happened.
The report names 5 suspects, 2 of them, an Indian origin man and a Hungarian woman. It ranks at the top of the list of suspects.
These people actually came to Fort Young, brothers and sisters. They didn't do no Rona test, nothing like that, from my understanding. They were on a boat. We saw photo evidence of them eating in Fort Young. Then they left. The people who had CHOKSI were in Fort Young.
The report, which was submitted to the government of Antigua and Barbuda, in its recommendations sought permission from the country's authorities to secure a warrant for the Hungarian woman for conspiracy to kidnap.
Hey.
It also wants Interpol to be requested to identify the location and possible return of all 5 suspects to Antigua to be interviewed.
And they actually had them, you know, brothers and sisters. They had them. They interviewed them. And I think they were saying they had nothing, they didn't know nothing about that. He was supposed to meet. The girl was speaking on thing, you know. She was speaking on one of the news people I was doing the corresponding for. She was speaking with them. Talking about, oh, he was trying to put her in some business and whatnot. She was trying to kidnap the man. Boy, you know, you see that?
The green light for this has yet to be granted by the government of Prime Minister Gaston Brown.
Why would he want to grant it? Why? Maybe because he's involved in it? Maybe?
Asked whether he knew about the case coming up for disposal, Dominica's leader of opposition Lennox Linton said, "So I understand."
I myself didn't know. It's India that had to tell me what was going on.
He had publicly stated, when criminal proceedings were launched against CHOKSI in July 2021, that the judge concerned should seize these and set the accused free.
Yep. because he's claiming he was kidnapped. He claimed he was kidnapped, but instead of that, you guys had him in jail. Not only that, but, well, I heard that he was beaten before he arrived in Dominica. But it seems like the same Louis partner, that same Louis partner was there too.
Radio presenter
Oh, I missed that.
and journalist Loftus Dutton, who broke the story of CHOKSI's clandestine arrest and detention in Dominica, thereby forcing the island state court to intervene and fought the alleged plan to rendition CHOKSI to India, told this reporter, "I am hearing from the grapevine that the state of Dominica is basically trying to do away with the matter."
Yep, of course they'll try their best. If they're involved and police officers are involved in the kidnapping of CHOKSI, both in Antigua and in Dominica, then of course they'll try their best to do away with it. That's what they want to do. Try their best to do away with it, not talk about it, and if the case comes, then Dalrymple might just decide, hey, okay, we're not interested in this no more, and throw the case. Don't be surprised if we hear they throw it, no, brothers and sisters, don't be surprised. But thank God the others outside there doing the research, eh? Alright then.
So I won't be surprised if the prosecutor will just decide that they are no longer interested in pursuing the matter.
I just said that.
CHOKSI and his family chose not to comment on the ongoing judicial process. CHOKSI was released on bail in July 2021 and returned home to Antigua.
And he had to come back to Dominica in November, December, January. One of them months. He never did because of his health conditions.
The 19-page Antigua police report dated June 25, 2021 confirms the claims made by CHOKSI and his wife Preeti at the time of CHOKSI's disappearance from Antigua on May 25, 2021. It also virtually dittos the complaint filed by London barrister Michael Pollock in the matter on behalf of CHOKSI to London's Metropolitan Police, or Scotland Yard, and the National Crime Agency in Britain.
Yeah, Scotland Yard. Scotland Yard is what I was referring to a while ago.
Because the suspects were all seemingly based in the United Kingdom.
All of them, even the woman that talk about CHOKSI wanted to give her money and this kind of things, buying her fake stuff.
Questions that remain unanswered are the motive behind the alleged crime and whether the abductors were acting on their own or had a bigger entity behind them.
Of course not. India was involved. They say they're not involved, Papa. But from my own personal take, I think India is involved, Dominica is involved, and Antigua is definitely involved. These three concluded so that they could try to kidnap CHOKSI, send him to Dominica since they couldn't send him to back to India from Antigua. Send him to Dominica, send a plane to Dominica. What the plane doing there if it's not that's not the case? Send him to Dominica, get him to fly back to India, and then they'll deal with matter right there. That's what they wanted to do, you know.
This can only be clarified by further inquiry, either by the Antigua police or British investigators or both.
Of course.
CHOKSI
Well, we don't think the Antigua will be involved, but definitely British.
Himself has alleged,
in terms of, telling the truth.
According to the Antigua Observer, that the persons who abducted him were operatives of the government of India, a charge New Delhi rejects.
But they were Indian. They have previously, before the incident happened, the Caribbean, I think Barbados was the one warning individuals that there are individuals planning to do a kidnapping in the Caribbean. And these two, the same individuals that you're talking about, kidnapped CHOKSI. Because they came to do their surveillance, before. And I guess they figured Dominica was the best place for them to get CHOKSI. Most likely they will have to talk to the officials and whatnot for them to get a plane into Dominica to take out CHOKSI. The man claimed he was kidnapped. And instead of you listening to the man's stories and, okay, what have you done? What has happened as a result of you being kidnapped? What is your story? They wanted to send him without giving any response. The only reason why we know about CHOKSI is because the plane was late, brothers and sisters, which means that the officials knew about it.
The Antigua police report, a copy of which is in this reporter's possession, is based on investigations into hotel and villa bookings and car rentals made by the person suspected to have kidnapped and tortured CHOKSI, as well as evidence gathered from CCTV recordings of the movements of the suspects in the island, records of taxis hired while they were in the country, and the tracking of 2 yachts said to have been used to transport CHOKSI from Antigua to Dominica. About the Indian origin man ranked at the top of the list of suspects, the police report states that he checked into CHOKSI Hotel and initially reported that he was alone, but the hotel staff reported subsequently seeing him in the company of a female identified as the other top suspect.
The Hungarian.
At 1943 on May 20...
That's why fellas only have to be careful, boy. Don't go and just decide, hey, nice looking girl, hey, she want me in the hotel. Brothers and sisters, you have to be careful. Some of them women wicked. They're wicked. You decide maybe some business meeting you wanted to do with the girl, but next time you can do, what you doing in a hotel? We go somewhere, restaurant or somewhere and pull up and thing. What you going somewhere with woman and you don't know woman and next thing you end up in Dominica kidnapped and they beat you on a boat and all kind of something there. Let this be a lesson for you fellas.
23rd, 2021, the day CHOKSI went missing. The report states that the two top suspects and one other, a Briton from Essex in England, left Antigua on an executive air charter flight, 8 p.m.
They were in Dominica too, you know, brothers and sisters. They were in Dominica before, I think. They were in Dominica before and then they left. Then I think Barbados gave a report saying some individuals were planning to kidnap. All this was out there, you know, brothers and sisters. All this was out there. And it's so interesting that these same individuals went to Fort Young to eat. We have photo evidence of that, you know. They went to Fort Young to eat. They was in a boat. They warned them saying that people coming to kidnap people in the Caribbean. There was a report stating before the kidnapping happened. And you still had CHOKSI as a criminal instead of listening to the possibility of him being kidnapped. That's interesting, eh?
And travelled to Dominica. Documentary evidence in support...
But it's not interesting because they knew it.
All of this is included in the report. The report suggests a yacht named Calliope of Arn was the main boat that carried CHOKSI from Antiguan waters to Dominica, a distance of 188 kilometers.
A boat that was... I think a boat that was from St. Vincent. I think that boat was registered in St. Vincent or somewhere. Like this. And then they actually contacted Cobra for them to clear the boat.
It says, on
the government them that contacted him, eh?
The 23rd of May 2021, Calliope of Arn cleared immigration at 09, 20 hours but never left because later that afternoon a yachtsman...
I think the government... Yeah, I think that's what he said.
Reported seeing about 3 or 4 mean-looking characters aboard the Calliope of Arn still anchored in the harbour. At about 5 p.m. he saw the mast being hoisted slowly, which raised his suspicion. After hoisting the mast, the boat sailed further out and began tracking from north to south and south to north continuously until after dusk when it was no longer visible. The witness reports that he did not see the ship the following day or ever since. The police report noted that when the yacht cleared immigration, it listed 2 suspects of Indian extraction as passengers.
The same individuals that they were reported that were going to be kidnapping people. The same individuals. They warned them about them. But Dominica don't want to listen. I wonder why.
One was a British citizen, the other an Indian national. Both, according to their papers, were from Birmingham in England. The Antigua police report recorded. On 27th of May 2021, Mrs. CHOKSI spoke to her husband via telephone in Dominica and according to her, he reported that he was lured to meet the Hungarian woman suspect at a villa #407F on North Finger in Jolly Harbour, in Antigua, with the intention of going to dinner. On
boy, all you don't know, boy.
Arrival at the villa, he was pounced upon by about 10 men of Indian and local descent.
Indian and local, so that means both Antigua and India descent. So, yeah.
A hood was placed over his head after he was tied to a wheelchair and gagged, and his phone and jewelry taken away. He was then beaten, tased and tortured before being wheeled onto a small boat docked at the back of the villa and taken out, where he was transferred to Calliope of Arn.
They try to break his spirit. They beat him, they break his spirit. Don't talk. Me? As the worst person to kidnap me? As the worst person to kidnap me? What? Let me not say much.
He was continually tortured and electrocuted, sick, along the journey which took him to Dominica on Monday 24th of May 2021. On arrival at Portsmouth Harbour, in Dominica, a Coast Guard vessel came and he was taken to shore where there were high-ranking police officers awaiting who took
high-ranking police officers that just happened to be there. They just happened to be there.
him into custody. He was accused of entering the country illegally. The report then reveals, on Tuesday 1st of June 20...
Which is insane, man. You seen the man with all this bruise on him. All this beat up. You seen his eyes, all kind of thing on the man. I still have those photos. You seen all those things on him. And you think that the man in Dominica, when the man reached the authorities in Dominica stating that he was somehow entered the country illegally with all the bruise and thing on his face. So you don't think it is a struggle that happened there? A struggle that happened with a man that they brought into the country, which the physical view alone will tell you that something was happening. But instead now, they decide to put him in jail. And are the plane coming for him? I would love to see how that unfolds. Well, we all right.
In Dominica, a Coast Guard vessel came and he was taken to shore where there were high-ranking police officers awaiting who took him into custody.
And he was in Cabrits, you know, brothers and sisters. I saw the photo of him sit down in Cabrits. Then all of a sudden, story changed for him being in Tukari on the beach.
He was accused of entering the country illegally. The report then reveals, on Tuesday 1st of June 2021 inquiries led investigators to Villa #407F, Jolly Harbour, which was rented by the Hungarian woman suspect from 18th 24th of May 2021. On arrival the villa was unoccupied and a forensic search uncovered small amounts of blood spatter and smudges on the living room floor and dining table along with a...
Because they were beating him. So in Antigua they was beating him, like I said before. He came to Dominica, he saw all his bruises on him. Why didn't you bring him to the hospital or something? You put him in jail instead. Which means that you were also included in it. You guys must have known. I would love to see how that follows. Now that it is called kidnapping and not illegal entry.
A broken ceramic ornament on the floor indicating a possible struggle.
I wonder if they would make somebody else take the fall. Just like Lauren Bannis. Make somebody take the fall for it.
Also found was the Hungarian woman suspect's travel itinerary.
They warned them, you know, talking about these people coming to kidnap people. Antigua picked them up, Dominica picked them up too. Boy, I tell you, but there's something else, we. Anyways, CHOKSI decided he has a response for thing. Mr. CHOKSI statement on discontinuation of the criminal proceedings in Dominica. Following the discontinuation of the criminal proceedings in Dominica against businessman in relation to what was alleged to be. Okay, we can't say that. Please see below. Okay. The spokesperson for Mr. CHOKSI. I don't know. I was saying Mr. CHOKSI. I don't get it. Anyways, Mr. CHOKSI is pleased that the Dominican government has today dropped all. When was this? I think it was yesterday or the day before Friday. I think it is. When I got the information was yesterday. Yeah, Friday. Today is Saturday. Interesting. Anyways, Mr. CHOKSI is pleased that the Dominican government has today dropped all charges against him for unlawful entry in May 2021, the incident. By doing so, they now recognize that there was never any case against him. Mr. CHOKSI was forcibly removed from Antigua against his will by agents of the Indian state, which of course they are allowed to come and have dinner in Fort Young, viciously assaulted and taken to Dominica by boat, where he was again unlawfully handed over to the authorities for an offense he never committed. He should sue Dominica for that because they didn't listen. Oh, but if I CHOKSI, boy, you mad. But sue him making ding dang. What? Ha! You think it's Tommy Lee alone that making handmade money? I would make some serious money out of that because that is a very serious crime. Very serious crime, even including that there's a potential involvement of these Dominican authorities as well in there. Because that's how the story is going, brothers and sisters. It only makes sense that they were involved. Only makes sense. If they weren't involved, that whole thing wouldn't make sense at all. But anyways, Mr. CHOKSI's legal team continues to pursue all avenues for justice to redress the human rights violation committed against him. Of course, they should go to the fullest extent, not peace. Full! But again, Mr. CHOKSI will You're old, man, so you might be, boy, I have to go through the... Man, go through all that, man. You have one life to live. Go after every single body. Mr. CHOKSI hopes that those responsible for his kidnapping from Antigua on May 23rd, 2021 will be brought to justice. And those who have you in Dominica too? Koludi to have planes coming into Dominica and what? Hi. Good riddance to bad energy right there. To these dirty rock people. But I'm happy that Mr. CHOKSI, you know, get these old vibes. I was explaining to those Indian people that, yeah, that is definitely the case. All they wanted to say, oh, he entered illegally. All kind of nonsense they were saying. But this is him right there, brothers and sisters. My brother, you also need to lose some weight in your belly there. Lose some weight in your belly now, please. Anyways, I'm happy to hear, you know, the conclusion of the whole thing. We knew that he was not going to come back to Dominica. We knew this for a fact. $7,000, what is that? What is that now to Mr. M? That is nothing. Antigua Zelle in problem because he knew. Well, it'll be interesting to find out how this whole thing went on, and as time goes by, we'll keeping abreast on these things. Of course, the Indians always hitting me up. Hey, what's going on there? Well, they know what's going on now. Anyways, guys, with all that said, give this video a thumbs up. If you want to see more, definitely subscribe and turn on post notifications so you can get more videos as these reactions tend to come through right there. I was gonna do another reaction on the whole the radio personnel who apparently want to give $500 to underage people and all kind of thing like that for maybe a lollipop. Ice pop. Why you want to go after underage? Anyways, we'll talk about that some other time, brothers and sisters. Be sure to subscribe and turn on post notification. Don't forget to download the app as well. That'll be in the first comment in the comment box below. Pretty much you'll get all the videos as they tend to come through. Hopefully I have to do an interview or another interview, a podcast tomorrow. Hopefully we get to make that happen, and then I will bring that to you guys next week. Of course, if you're on the app, you'll definitely see when this thing drops. So definitely download the app right there, Mystelics Tube. And then some of you guys actually commented on it, you know, giving your what do you call that? Your reviews and whatnot. You guys enjoy the app, but for some strange reason, it doesn't appear yet. It doesn't appear on the stuff and the ratings that you guys give. Definitely give a 5 on 5 rating if you enjoy the app, right? And what have you guys? And with that said, guys, I'll see you guys in the next reaction video. Boomba.